on, guys? It's Bassn with Buddy with Tip Tuesday. I just wanted to go over a tip that I learned the hard way this weekend. Anytime you cast out and you're reeling in and you felt like you had a bite but you have a snag and you set the hook super hard, well, what happens when you do that? When you set the hook real hard, the line that you have in here actually digs down into the spool. I don't know if you can see this, but if I take this line here and I begin to pull it real hard, you can see that this line is starting to go into this spool right here, or this extra, or the remaining line that I have inside this spool. And I actually have 65-pound braid on. While I was fishing 65-pound braid on, and I was fishing a really heavy lure, and what happened was while I was fishing this lure, I threw it out really far, and I thought I had a bite, so I set the hook real hard, which caused that line to go all the way in to this extra line that I had. Now, the tip that I want to leave with you today is, as soon as that happens, before you troll over to where you need to to unsnag, or to walk over if you were bank fishing, before you do anything, the first thing you need to do, I learned the hard way, and this is exactly what you need to do. As soon as you get that snag and you set that hook real hard because you thought you had a bite, you need to pull that line out first. Just pull it out, and pull it out until you feel that it's back as like a free spool, instead of you'll hear it grinding and pulling and like separating. As soon as you are all through with doing that, set that back in and tighten that line back up, and bring that line in. What I did was, how I said I learned the hard way, was that as soon as I got snagged, I turned the trolling motor on and went directly to where the snag was. And so I got the snag out, I reeled in, I pulled the bait back up, and I went to cast it back out. And what happened was, since I had such a heavy bait on there, I had this 65-pound braid on. I casted it out, and it was going 100 miles an hour out. And I guess as soon as it got to that part where I had set the hook, well, it had stopped my bait from moving, and it snapped my 65-pound braid and sent my brand new lure a mile down the lake. And I wasn't able to retrieve it because it wasn't a floating bait. It was actually a slow sinking bait. I wasn't able to retrieve it. But the tip I want to leave for you today is, if you ever get hung up, you get snagged, and you had set that hook pretty hard, pull that line out first to loosen it, or to allow it to become free from that spool. Now, I was fishing braid, so the braid has a tendency to dive down in there a little bit deeper because it's real soft. From using like fluorocarbon or monofilament, when you spool it up, it gets like real tight, and it's hard. You can barely stick your finger in there to peel the line apart. But usually when you're fishing like the fluorocarbon and the monofilament lines, you still need to do that. I haven't had my line break on me, but a friend of mine had it break once he had had that snag and didn't pull it out. And another thing that happens when you have the fluorocarbon and monofilament, when you don't pull the line out, when you cast it out and it hits that spot where it's snug inside of your line, it will cause a really bad backlash. So the tip for Tuesday is, when you ever set the hook and you get snagged up, and you set it real good, that line's going to go into that extra line that you have on your spool. Pull that out first, and then go and retrieve your snag. Well, that's the tip for Tuesday. I'll catch you next time.